There are secrets that time tries to bury, but sometimes the sea itself refuses to remain silent. In 1900, Greek divers were searching only for sponges at the bottom of the Aegean Sea, but what they found there, among the wreckage of a Roman ship, was not gold nor ancient statues. It was something impossible, an object covered by centuries of corrosion, metal pieces, gears, something that should not have existed at that time. A few meters off the coast of a small island called Antikythera, the ancient world was letting slip one of its greatest mysteries. At that time, known technology was simple. Wheels, levers, weapons, ships, but this machine seemed to have been created by someone far ahead of their time. The divers, not understanding what they had in their hands, took everything to the National Archaeological Museum of Athens. For decades, the rusted pieces were forgotten on a shelf, like simple fragments of corroded bronze. Until years later, an archaeologist noticed something. Among the broken blocks, there were perfectly symmetrical metal teeth, tiny inscriptions in ancient Greek, and a mechanism that moved with millimetric precision. What could it be? A clock, a navigation instrument, or something even more complex? Something the world would only see again 2,000 years later. In 1951, British physicist Derek de Solla Price analyzed the pieces with new X-ray technology, and the result left him astonished. The artifact was not a simple sculpture, but an analog computer built in the 1st century BC. A computer, even before the very idea of one existed. The Antikythera machine seemed to calculate precisely the movements of the sun, the moon, and the known planets. It predicted eclipses and showed the cycle of the Olympic Games, all of this using bronze gears fitted with atomic-level precision. But how could a civilization from 2,000 years ago create something so complex? Who could have designed such a mechanism? And why? Some scholars suggest the machine was inspired by Aristarchus of Samos, the first to propose that the Earth revolved around the sun. Others believe it was created by engineers from Rhodes, disciples of Archimedes, the greatest genius of ancient Greece. But there is something that unsettles even the most skeptical scientists. There is no other similar artifact in all of antiquity. Nothing showing a technological transition leading up to this level of engineering. It is as if the Antikythera machine appeared out of nowhere, a sudden leap of knowledge, and then disappeared completely. Researchers tried to recreate the mechanism based on three-dimensional X-rays. The result? More than 30 gears, with cuts so precise that even modern machines would struggle to replicate. Each movement was linked to perfect astronomical calculations. As if whoever created it understood the universe with a vision humanity would only achieve centuries later. Some see there the proof of lost knowledge, others a fragment of a forgotten civilization, perhaps predating Greece itself. Some say the Antikythera machine is one of the few relics of a past far more advanced than we imagine. Fair-pieced and left by someone who knew what they were doing, someone who understood time, the sky, and mathematics in an almost superhuman way. And while science tries to explain the impossible, one question keeps echoing in the depths of the Aegean Sea. Who built the machine? And what else did they know? It was something more, something that would predict the future, because what seemed to be a rusted relic in reality hid knowledge spanning entire ages. For decades, scholars tried to understand the function of the Antikythera machine, but it was only with the advancement of modern technology that the artifact finally began to reveal its secrets. In the early 2000s, an international team of scientists gathered experts in engineering, astronomy, and digital radiography. They used high-resolution scanners to penetrate the corroded layers of bronze. What they saw inside changed everything. The images revealed complex internal parts, gears arranged on multiple axes, some smaller than a coin, and among them, hundreds of inscriptions in ancient Greek almost invisible to the naked eye. These inscriptions were instructions, as if the creator had left an operating manual. And in it, a surprising revelation. The machine calculated exact astronomical cycles, synchronized with the movements of the moon, the sun, and even planets like Mercury and Venus. It could predict eclipses with an accuracy of hours. It showed lunar phases, celestial positions, and even indicated orbital anomalies, something that would require deep knowledge of astronomy and advanced mathematics. For many scientists, this was simply impossible for the 1st century BC. But what intrigues even more is that the precision of the gears would only be replicated in human history more than 1,000 years later. Some researchers claim that not even Leonardo da Vinci could reproduce the mechanism with such exactness. And this raises a disturbing question. Where did this knowledge come from? Among the inscriptions, there was a mention of the Saros cycle, used by the Babylonians to predict solar and lunar eclipses. But the Greeks should not have possessed this calculation in detail. This suggests that the machine was the result of a fusion of knowledge, Greek, Egyptian, and Babylonian. Or perhaps something even older. Some modern scholars, like mathematician Tony Freeth, believe the artifact was the pinnacle of a lost technology, that other machines like it existed, but were lost over time. Others go further, saying the precision is so absurd that perhaps the machine was based on knowledge inherited from a civilization predating recorded history itself. A civilization that disappeared, leaving only traces. If true, this changes everything we know about the timeline of human progress. It would mean humanity had once reached a level of knowledge equivalent to ours, and that for some reason, that knowledge was erased. Some link the Antikythera machine to ancient legends, like Atlantis, Mu, or civilizations, wiped out by great catastrophes. For the most skeptical, everything can be explained by chance and Greek skill. But even the most rational admit, no one expected to find a precision computer in the heart of the ancient Mediterranean. And even today, with all the studies, reconstructions, and 3D models, no one has been able to fully decipher the mechanism. There are internal gears that simply correspond to nothing known, movements that seem to represent something beyond the solar system. But the mystery does not end there, because among the inscriptions there are still symbols and messages that seem to have been left intentionally. Some researchers claim these marks hide an astronomical code, and others that they could contain a warning about humanity's future. In the next part, we will decipher these messages and understand why some believe the Antikythera machine not only observed the cosmos, but predicted it. There are mysteries that time tries to erase, but there are others that seem to refuse to be forgotten. The Antikythera machine is one of them. And the more science tries to explain it, the more it returns questions, as if it held within itself a code left by hands that knew what they were doing. In recent decades, archaeologists and mathematicians have analyzed every line, every symbol, every gear of the artifact. And in 2022, a new breakthrough revealed something surprising. Internal inscriptions mentioned not only astronomical cycles, but complex temporal patterns repeated at precise intervals. These intervals coincide with rare astronomical events, like planetary conjunctions, phenomena that for the ancients symbolized the touch of the gods upon human destiny. The inscriptions were fragmented, but some words caught attention: Helios, Chronos, Fate, and a numerical sequence that seemed more than just calculations. Physicist Tony Freeth called this sequence the creator's signature, a mathematical pattern that repeats proportions also seen in ancient structures such as Egyptian pyramids and Babylonian temples. Coincidence? Or evidence that different civilizations shared the same hidden knowledge? For some alternative researchers, the machine was not just an astronomical calendar, but an instrument of cosmic prophecy, a mechanism capable of predicting periods of great change based on planetary alignments. And according to some interpretations, these cycles coincided with critical moments in human history. Among the reconstructed inscriptions, one line stands out. Freely translated, it says, "When the gods align in the sky, the time of man will be tested." A poetic phrase, perhaps, or a warning. Many see there only a metaphor, but others believe the machine carried a prophetic clock, marking eras of crisis, war, and rebirth. The enigma grows when comparing the Antikythera Mechanism with certain Greek myths. Kronos, the god of time, devoured his children to prevent the future from surpassing him, and this metaphor appears inscribed on the machine's panels. There is a bolder and disturbing hypothesis. Some independent researchers suggest that the mechanism was not designed to observe the cosmos, but to replicate it, a miniature of the universe, where each gear represented an orbit, each movement an event. In other words, a functional model of reality. If this is true, then the creator of the Antikythera machine was not just calculating time. They were trying to understand the very fabric of existence. And when an ancient mind comprehends the laws of the universe with such precision, the boundary between science and divinity becomes almost invisible. And that is why many call the artifact the Code of the Gods, a vestige of knowledge that surpassed the logic of its era. But the mystery goes even deeper, because new analyses indicate that the mechanism could have missing parts, gears that, if they existed, could completely change our interpretation. And if these missing pieces were never found, it is not because they were lost at sea, but because they never belonged to that ship. The Antikythera machine remains one of the greatest enigmas of modern archaeology. But one question still echoes among scholars, skeptics, and dreamers. Where did it really come from? As much as science has tried to define its origin as Greek, there are details that do not fit. The ship where the machine was found transported statues and artifacts from different regions of the Mediterranean, not only from Greece, but also from Egypt and Asia Minor. And this raises a bold hypothesis. The Antikythera machine may have been an inheritance, an ancient artifact, already ancient even for the Greeks. Metallurgical analyses showed that the bronze used had a composition outside the standard for the time. Extremely pure alloys, melted at temperatures that, theoretically, the Greeks could not achieve. And more, some inscriptions engraved on the internal plates do not correspond exactly to classical Greek. They are symbols reminiscent of a hybrid language, a mix of Greek, Egyptian, and something yet unidentified. This led certain independent scholars to question whether the artifact could have come from a previous civilization, perhaps a lost society, destroyed by cataclysms described in legends such as Atlantis. Others believe that the knowledge behind the machine was not born on Earth, but inspired by something that came from the sky. In recent years, researchers discovered that the ancient Greeks had an unusual fascination with objects fallen from the heavens. They called them stones of the gods, and among fragments of the Antikythera ship, a small metallic sample was found, a microscopic fragment of still undetermined origin. Some say it is just modern contamination. Others are not so sure. There is also a disconcerting coincidence. The same constellation engraved on the machine's cover, Leo, is cited in ancient Babylonian texts as a symbol of the cycle of rebirth. For many, this is just an artistic detail, but for those who believe the machine served to predict ages, this could represent the beginning of a new human time count. The fact is that no one knows who built the Antikythera machine, nor how nor why. It remains an anomaly, a link outside the evolutionary line of human technology, a silent reminder that perhaps we are not the first advanced civilization on this planet. Today, more than 2,000 years later, scientists are still trying to decipher what it really did. But perhaps the true mystery is not in the gears, but in the message it carries. A message that crossed oceans and centuries, saying in silence that knowledge never disappears, it just waits to be rediscovered. Perhaps the Antikythera machine is not an isolated artifact. Perhaps it is a reminder that time is cyclical and that what we deem lost always returns. Because in the end, it does not matter if the machine came from Greece, Atlantis, or the stars. What matters is what it makes us ask. Did the past know more than we imagine? And are we in the present ready to understand what they tried to leave us? And you, what do you think? Was the Antikythera machine created by human hands? Or is it the remnant of something beyond our understanding?